for 4:35, but it's just too much going on. I had to jump in early. It's just too much going on. I'm gonna wait for everybody to come on in. Man, boxing is back in a major way. In some ways good, in some ways bad. But that's boxing. A lot of people out there might not agree with what I'm about to say, but that's because most people are bad. Sheepy sheep. Sheep deluxe. Anyway, come on in, y'all. Come on in. Tell a friend. Let the games begin. By the way, that Kendrick Lamar thing is whack, man. I'm like, he didn't have any lines in it. The singing and stuff at the beginning kind of threw me off. I just don't get this Kendrick Lamar thing. Shout out to you, Charlene. She says, "Hey, thanks for coming through, Charlene. Appreciate it. Appreciate it for real. Much respect. Hope everything's going great for you today. Wait for some more people to come on in. Hope everybody's having a great, productive, lovely day. Minimal drama. Hopefully, no drama at all. Wrinkles up my proverbial shirt. But I guess I'm gonna just go ahead and get started, let everybody get in where they fit in. First of all, I'd like to say Ryan Garcia was fighting an uphill battle from the jump with all this, just all the things going on. He was fighting a referee. The judge, one of the judges had it scored wrong. And now, this far after the fight, when was that fight? April 20th. We're in May, and all of a sudden he pops dirty. I'm not buying it. We all know what this is about. We all know what this is about. Anytime you say Yeshua, Jesus, you're going to have the masses on high alert. I knew this guy named Harris Hayth that wrote a book called Growing Up Laughing with Eddie Murphy. We used to hold scripture studies over the phone because he was in New Jersey. And we used to talk a lot. And he was saying how an agent told him, if you want to be successful in the entertainment industry, do not say the name Jesus. This was told to me years ago. A lot of insiders know that. So now Ryan has a target on his back. But I'm praying that the Most High protects him. So anytime you say the name Yeshua or Jesus, they're going to go after you. They're going to go after your views. They're going to go after your algorithm. They're going to go after your win. They didn't want Ryan Garcia to win this fight. And now they're going after him. He wasn't on nothing. I know he wasn't. They just don't like he's putting out music videos and he's blowing up even bigger than before. Bon Scott in the building says, "Hey, J. Rue, shout out to you, Bon Scott, representing Scotland, the hot land, Scotland." Yeah, man, I'm not buying this Ryan Garcia thing. Pops dirty this far after the fight. If you, whenever you took the test, didn't they know if he popped dirty before that something was going to come up? Highlander, that's right. Shout out to Bon Scott and Charlene in the building. But I'm not buying this Ryan Garcia cheated thing, not at all. Nah, nah. Even Tank Davis had his back. Tank was saying they're doing everything in their power to take this win away from Ryan. Ryan is, he did a video talking about there's no way he cheated. and now he's clowning around saying I need more steroids. Bon Scott says I don't believe it either. Same with White. Looks like they got rid of him too until he was needed. Yeah, man, there's a lot of boxing's been a dirty sport since its inception, and especially in the mafia days. Now it's different people involved in the game though, but it's still dirty. Shout out to TS Boxing. He says salute. I think he did, but it didn't make a difference in the fight. It's just something to latch on to. I think where Ryan may have made the problem is by doing all the talk about smoking and drinking. So they kind of gave, they already had a storyline to go with. They can say, see, he was on something. Look at all the stuff he was doing. Like White missed out on the Joshua fight because it would have messed their plans up. I think Joshua would have blasted Dillian even worse, but it does seem like some funny business is going on with Dillian White and now Ryan Garcia. And of course, Bill Haney's jumping on the bandwagon. Somebody needs to tell Bill Haney to take a mega chill pill. That dude is just doing the most. Going at it with Floyd, he still thinks he's in the streets, dropping N bombs every other word. So, Bill Haney, you're putting more pressure on your boy than you need to. And, they're trying to take this win from Ryan. If he tested positive for something, it wouldn't have taken this long to come out. And if they knew ahead of time, they should be in trouble if it was legit for letting him even go into the ring. So I'm not buying it. And like I said, anytime you say Jesus, you say Yeshua, you talk about the scriptures, the Bible, you will get a target on your back. Anytime you try to do something morally right, they're coming after you. Years later, all these below average looking women suddenly come out of the woodwork when he wanted to start his own network. Look into that. A lot of those women got caught lying. I agree he would have won, but White wasn't in the plan, which is for Joshua to meet Fury. White was a higher risk than Elenius. Oh yeah, White would have been probably a little bit harder of a fight. Well, I don't know. Elenius gave Joshua a tougher fight than I thought he was going to give him, but they may have looked at it that way, that White would have been a harder fight for Elenius, but I think Elenius ended up being a little bit more than they counted on. But I see what you're saying. But it's just a trip to me how, if Christianity is made up, if it's not real, if it's fantasy, why do they go after it so hard? Why? Adore says, Jay Roos, salute to you, man. Thanks for tuning in. I'm just up here defending Ryan Garcia. I'm not buying this PED thing. They're going to have more proof than that. If I was fighting, I would just film the whole everything just to show that everything's up and up. I'd film all my meals. Well, yeah, I guess that's not going to work either because they'll just say, well, you did it when you turn off the camera. So I don't know. Maybe you got to have witnesses there to document it, but he didn't look like he was on anything. I know he was bigger, but it looked like a natural big. Often when dudes are on something, they get overly vascular. But I haven't even heard of the stuff that they say he was on. I never heard of it. And I read one of the comments on another platform. It was saying, even if he took it, it was saying it wasn't an illegal, it's not a steroid. But, like I said, they're going to try everything in their power to take this win from Ryan. They couldn't do it on fight night. The referee couldn't do it. The judge couldn't do it. So now they're pretty much doing whatever they can to take this win. I understand that Devin Haney's trying to get it ruled as a no contest. Even if he does, we saw what happened. And I'm not buying it, Devin Haney came into his fight against Regis Prograis weighing 160 on the day of the fight. So he put on like 20 pounds after the weigh-in. So, Charlene says he played himself in a way to be set up by his antics. Yeah, I see what you're saying. All the crazy stuff, was giving them ammunition. They're like, okay, well, look at what he said here. Look at what he was doing here. And now they're like, it wouldn't be hard for anyone to believe that he was doing something because he was doing so much antics, like Charlene is saying. Um, I hope the truth comes out in the end. And there's a lot going on. Let me move on to y'all. See that little exchange between Canelo and Oscar De La Hoya? That was Oscar said he was waiting with his fist clenched. It was about to go down. Canelo's calling him all kind of words. Oscar saying he tested positive, a drug cheat twice. Paraphrasing, he said, put some respect on my name. So it was about to go down. People were saying like, forget Canelo and this Mungia or whatever his name is. They'd rather see Oscar go at it with Canelo. I didn't know it had gotten so nasty between the two, but Oscar was talking about this is defamation and he's got something waiting for Canelo. That would have not ended well for Oscar considering the age difference. There you go with the age thing again. Man. I think, you got to go with Canelo because he's just more active, not because of the age thing, because Canelo's an old, 33? If you look at it, like Oscar was saying, he's an old 33 because look at all the fights he's had. But then again, Oscar said he was old at 30 because of all the wars he had. So I see your point, man. I see your point, man. You got me on that one. Yeah, I mean, you would have to take Canelo against Oscar. I mean, Oscar's best chance would be to get in a punch that Canelo didn't see coming. I saw Oscar, a couple of years ago, though, training. His hand speed was looking like it was before. If you stay training, you're not going to lose your hand speed and your strength. It's if you stop that, all the everything else is. But it went down with Canelo and Oscar, man. That got pretty. That was more interesting than the guy that's actually supposed to fight Canelo. Ray says, "How long do you think drug cheat should be banned from boxing?" At least a year. At least a year. And if you get caught, I'd say three strikes you're out. You get caught three times, no boxing license. At least not in the States. They got to fight in Argentina or Antarctica or something like that. I just know that Ryan Garcia knew too many eyes were on him. If he was going to cheat, this wouldn't have been the fight to do it when the world is watching. So I'm not buying it, man. There's so many. You could just say anything now, and people will believe it. You could come into the ring looking like Jabba the Hutt, and they would say, "Oh man, you're on something." Same with the Hopkins Tank handbags at Dawn. Tank would have gotten destroyed by Hopkins in his prime. Not so much now. Oh yeah, man. Yeah, B Hop in his prime was so much ring IQ, man. And he's just a physically bigger guy on top of that. Speaking of physically bigger, look how big Jake Paul is. He got to 230 rather fast. Even got long hair rather quickly. Not going to help, though. It's not going to help at all. But and I understand on another note, Deontay Wilder, should he get past Zilly Zhang, is supposed to fight Jared Big Baby Anderson. What y'all think about that one? Now I really hope Wilder can win because I would like to see that. Although I thought they were trying to get Wilder Joshua. I don't know. Did you watch the Whitaker presser? What a joke. The guy he is fighting is area level at best. I saw a little bit of the stare down, but I never heard of the guy that Whitaker was fighting. He kind of looked intimidated, whatever Whitaker said to him. He kind of turned around. I'm like, dude, so what are you doing, man? Stop. Face him. You got to fight him, so what's that about? But I'm going to have to check out the entirety of. I like watching press conferences. I like to see how quick on their feet each fighter is, how funny they are, how witty they are. See if I can pick up any intimidation going on or confidence or false confidence. So I used to record all the build-ups leading to like the Lennox Lewis fight. I record the pressers and everything, man. I don't know how far Whitaker can get with that style. It's entertaining, but all that playing around and putting your hands down, somebody's gonna study that and catch him the minute he drops his hands. TS Boxing says it's a crash out mission. Laugh out loud. Turkey doesn't think he'll beat Zhang, so just feed him to Anderson. He might be right. Yeah, I don't see Wilder beating Zhang, man. I just don't. I hope he does, but I don't see it happening. I just, no matter how I look at it, Whitaker told him his blood pressure was up with nerves and he needed to take a drink for his dry mouth. Wow. Wow. Does Whitaker come to these press conferences with a team of writers? Pretty quick feet. But I guess the guy that he's fighting, he's trying to build up his record until he gets to the champions or contenders of that division. You usually fight them type of dudes to get your record up. Also told him his head looked like a Rubik's cube. Did the guy just sit there and take it, or did he have any comebacks? Was he like, well, yeah, it kind of does look like a Rubik's cube. You got me there. The world of boxing. You got to love it. Bernard Hopkins would be a very good boxing trainer for Deontay Wilder. Could be. It just matters if Deontay's going to listen, because I don't think Bernard's going to tell him everything he wants to hear. Bon Scott said, nah, he was pretty shook, didn't have much to say. I thought, like I said, I thought so too from the quick clip that I saw. I was like, he didn't look very menacing. Charlene said, did you see the video of Wilder trying to run? No, I didn't. Oh, no. I'm going to watch it right when I get off. What, he's looking crazy? He tripping over his feet, or just his legs look like they was about to buckle? TS Boxing said, also, this might be totally irrelevant, but I find interesting how Sean George, Zhang's trainer, can speak Chinese. I heard him in the corner versus Parker and recognized his voice. Very, very cool. Wow, was he? So he's been around Zhang long enough to learn Chinese. That is interesting. I'm gonna have to go back and listen for that. That's some serious homework right there, because from what I understand, learning that language is not easy, let alone trying to write it. Head like a Rubik's Cube, body like a beanbag. That sounds like a chorus in a rap. Head like a Rubik's Cube, body like a beanbag. I'm a zigzag, hit you like a quick jab. You know what I'm saying? Let me give y'all a line or two. Man, there's so much going on in boxing right now. I feel like I'm forgetting something. Bon Scott said bars. More bars in Alcatraz. More bars in Bourbon Street. More bars in the candy store. It's too late to start leg day, Charlene says. Yeah, Wilder, man. Yeah, Wilder should just dedicate like a whole 8 weeks to just, mainly legs, man. He got to even calves. I know calves are stubborn muscle to try to build up, but he's got to get some. I don't know if his legs are weak, but they look weak. Maybe they're strong and just don't look it. But even his upper body is not the same. His upper body used to look pretty impressive, but in that last fight against Joseph Parker, like I said, he had that Snoop Dogg body. Snoop Dogg, Snoop Dogg. Wilder got to run around in the shower just to get wet. Bon Scott says. Yeah, when you look at Wilder, you don't think heavyweight, and I'm sure he looks even smaller in person because, like they say, the camera adds 10 pounds to you. So if he's looking that small on a camera, you can imagine what he looks like in person, man. Wow. And before he fights Zhang, I would get a different trainer in there. If you don't want to get rid of Malik, at least bring somebody else in to kind of assist, because Zhang didn't look all that great against Parker, but he did hurt Parker pretty bad, especially with that first knockdown. And Parker's got tree trunks for legs, and if he went down, What's going to happen when Wilder gets hit, and that southpaw style I keep saying, that is very tricky. I box mainly southpaws, and it is different. It is different indeed. Punches are coming from weird angles, and what's your pick, Big Daddy Dubois or Hergovich? Man, that is a tough one to pick, man. That is a tough one to pick. I'm gonna say Dubois though. I know Hergovich has got a lot to say. He's talking about retiring if he doesn't beat Daniel. He was talking about how he beat him up in sparring, but that was years ago. Who you got, by the way, Scott, Mr. Scott? Tiz Boxing says, have you seen his sparring? It's been the same for almost 10 years. A mix of a Hellenius, Steven Torres, Gerald Washington Shaw, Walt Harris, MMA fighter, and his special one for this camp, Molina. Wow, he's got Molina. I understand that my dude Vlad Sarenko's sparring with Hergovich too. Emmanuel in the building says, "Yo, Jay Roo, shout out to you, Emmanuel. Thanks for coming through. We're just chopping it up. I started off on the Ryan Garcia thing, and now I'm just covering all areas in between. I got Dubois. Dubois was only 17 years old when he sparred Hergovich. Yeah, that was a long time ago. I'm sure both guys, you know, well, I don't know if Hergovich has kind of improved or kind of gotten worse, but Dubois improved. Charlene says those legs will snap if Zane lands. Pretty much, pretty much. Those legs are not heavyweight legs, and he needs to do something about that. At least give the impression of strength. Maybe build up his thighs and wear some higher shorts, to show us. But them calves are like featherweight calves, man. It's pretty bad. Tia's Boxing says Wilder is way too cheap to get good work. They're so hard headed. Exactly, man. He just I don't know. He was talking about he didn't want people in his camp just pretty much just kissing up. But was he just talking or does he mean it? And if he means it, then why is he not changed trainers? Is what I'm asking. Bon Scott says Zane's gonna stir fry those noodle legs. I feel that way too. Zhang has a point to prove. Well, Deontay does too, but I think Zhang's pretty mad at himself for not finishing off Parker when he had the opportunity. Adore says, Jay Roos, what is your favorite state? It would have to be California and probably Texas. Probably Texas. Definitely not Georgia. Definitely not Georgia. Georgia has its good points, but I'm just a Cali guy. Spent most of my years there, and when I get a chance to go back, I'm going back to Cali. Cali. I weigh more than Wilder, and he's 6'7". Yeah, I do too. Yeah, I'm not near 6'7", but I weigh more than Mr. Deontay. Deontay used to come in around 220 ish, in his early days, and then I don't know. I remember his brother got busted for steroids, so I don't know what was going on, but maybe he thought they were coming after him, so he dropped some weight, or I don't know. But it's not a heavyweight body, and these days heavyweights are extra big. Not the fastest crop of heavyweights, but they're big and strong. You know, there are some fast heavyweights though, like Andy Ruiz and Big Baby Miller coming up. Not that Big Baby's that fast, but yeah, this is a weird time to try to fight at heavyweight, but more like a cruiserweight. Deontay packs a heavyweight punch though. Not the hardest of all time, but he does have power, so Zane can't get cocky in there. You know. Then Zane has the better chin of the two, from what I've seen. We're almost at Fury versus Usyk. Man, I almost forgot about that. Yeah, that's coming up. What this man? I forgot. Yeah, that's this month, ain't it? Well, I got to check those pay-per-view prices. Yeah, man. TS Boxing, they always tell me, oh, Wilder is one of the greatest in history. He has 10 title defenses. What's that mean? Marco Huck has 13. Yamanaka has 12, but people don't remember them. Yeah. Yeah, if you have 10 title defenses against, dudes that are C level, you're only as good as your resume. If your resume is trash, your knockouts can't be put up here. That's why I'm not buying that hardest puncher of all time nonsense. Like, not at all. Adore says Jay Roos, there's a lot much more better qualities of heavyweights now than the Klitschko era. Absolutely. Yeah, the Klitschko era was mainly dominated by the Klitschkos. There wasn't too many guys. It's kind of after Lennox Lewis hung up the belts, it's kind of like after Ali retired, it was like the next crop wasn't that exciting. It had its moments, but everybody was missing Ali, and people may not want to admit it, but they were missing Lennox Lewis too. They might have talked about him and said whatever they wanted, but they missed him. When people say Lennox Lewis was a boring fighter, I'm like, well, then why was his fight against Mike Tyson the highest grossing fight at the time? It wasn't just to see Tyson. If so, all the Tyson's fight would have been the higher grossing fight. So Lewis had a part to play in that, whether people wanted to admit it at the time or not. He's getting more of his credit now, though, Lennox Lewis. But I'm wondering if there's going to be let me read this comment. Tiz Boxing says, man, I wish we would have seen Wilder Povetkin. That was a legit test and would have been good for him. So sad we never got to see that. Yeah, that would have been a good test for Wilder because Povetkin was about the same height as the guy that knocked him out in the amateurs or stopped him. And I believe they were both from around the same area. So, yeah, that would have been a good fight to see. Yeah, most definitely. There's a lot of matchups that I wish we would have gotten that we never did, like Razor Ruddock, Evander Holyfield decades ago. I still got to watch that interview with Bruce Gass where he had Razor Ruddock on, and Razor was talking about why that fight never happened. So I got to go back and hear what he has to say about that, you know. But I was gonna say, I wonder if there's gonna be any drama at the Canelo. What's his name? Munguia, something like that. Weigh-in. Wonder if Oscar gonna come in like, okay, what's up? Wilder one time actually replied to my comment a few years back in 2019 on Instagram. I was so shocked. Oh, for real? Wow. Wow. That's pretty interesting. Like, I said something the other day on Instagram on John Jones. I thought it was his page. It was like a fan page. I was like, because it said liked by John Jones. I was like, oh, John. I was like, oh, it's his fan page. I would love to get John Jones on the show. I'm going to try to line that one up. TS Boxing says Razor Ruddock believes that Lennox cheated him. No offense, but here we go. Did he? What did he say about that? I didn't hear that. Maybe that's why he's still fighting today, trying to regain some of his esteem. Lennox Lewis cheated him. Wow. Wonder what in the world Razor was smoking. You know, he is from Jamaica. You hitting the ganja, Razor? You hitting the ganja a little hard, cutting it with a razor. That's how you got the name Razor Ruddock. Come on, Razor. Apparently Lennox hit him too hard. He's talking about Lennox cheated. Fight was 2 rounds, bro. Emmanuel says, what was Razor smoking? Yeah, I saw that fight when it happened, man. I don't know how he could have possibly cheated, it was over before he could have implemented any kind of cheating strategy. Where he hit him too hard, that was against the rules. It's supposed to be an exhibition. This is supposed to be an exhibition. An exhibition. Rocky Four. You might hear that during the Jake Paul Mike Tyson fight. This is supposed to be an exhibition. TS Boxing, he said that Lewis intentionally hit him in the back of the head when he was ducking down. It got right behind the ear, and he said that they trained for that in Detroit. Wow. So he's saying the Kronk fighters are dirty? Come on, Razor. Lennox Lewis hadn't even trained at the Kronk at the time. He wasn't even with Emmanuel Stewart. He was with Pepe Correa. Nice try, Razor. Your timeline sucks. And if I had him on the show, I would tell him that your timeline is off. It sucks. It sucks like a Hoover vacuum. It's terrible. Lennox Lewis hadn't even visited Detroit at the time. Emmanuel says, "Hope Mike Tyson doesn't take a dive for Jake Paul." Yeah, you hope. I hope you're right, because I saw an interview Mike Tyson did. I forget the dude's name, but it was. I didn't like it. They were just joking and laughing through the whole thing. It's about 28 minutes. But Mike Tyson said, "Let's just say that I'm going to entertain everybody." I didn't like that. I was like, "What does that mean, entertain?" I hope by entertain you mean by knocking Jake Paul's head off. Bon Scott said, "I heard that Lewis is going to send Ruddock a gold-plated pacifier," as you call them in the States. Yeah, you should, man, because that's crazy. Sometimes a punch is gonna hit you in a weird place when you're falling, and Razor falls awkward too. So if you're moving and falling weird, then yeah, man, it wasn't deliberate. If it happened at all. TS Boxing says, "I can send you a clip if you would like." So, yeah, no, yeah, man, send me that clip. Yes, definitely send me that clip. I would like to see that. Bon Scott says the States. Yeah, man, I got you. I don't quite understand what Razor Ruddock like. I'm wondering how long he's been saying this too, because I didn't hear him saying it like back when the fight was fresh and new. I didn't hear him say it. Now all of a sudden, I don't know. Adore says they should make a heavyweight Grand Prix Ultimate Boxing 12-man tournament. You never know the way Mr. Turkey's putting on these heavyweight events. I wouldn't doubt it, man. We got Terrence Crawford coming up, Gerald Big Baby Miller and Louise. Oh, did you guys hear Junior Fa retired, man? He was supposed to fight Mahmoudov and he retired. You got an email or IG if I can send it to you? Yeah, man, my Instagram is Jonathan Roos 619. Jonathan JONATHAN Roos 619. Yeah, man, go ahead and send that. What about Jared Anderson versus Joseph Parker next? No, it's Jared Anderson versus Deontay Wilder, from what I understand. But if you fought Joseph Parker, I'd watch that. That'd be a good fight. I'd probably pick Parker to win, though. Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson doesn't feel right. I feel like something strange is going to happen. Yeah, it is weird because like Jake Paul was just 200 pounds the other week. Now all of a sudden he's 230 with long hair. I'm like, I don't know, man. Sick of boxers making excuses. They need to take their lick. Wilder probably the worst. Yeah, I don't like that either. It makes you look weak mentally. You don't lose fans if you just say, hey, man, I got caught. I'll be back. You start talking about, oh, he had brass knuckles in his glove and I had a hangnail, so I couldn't punch. Yeah, it's like, come on, bro. Teddy Bruckshot in the building. He says, what it do? Steroids in his house. So you think Ryan was juicing, huh? I'm not buying it, man. They're doing everything in their power to make Devin look like he was cheated. I'm not buying it at all. TS Boxing says, cool. I'll clip it and send it over. Oh, yeah, man. Cool, man. Yeah, I definitely want to see that. Bon Scott says Parker would annihilate Anderson. Yeah, I think so too. Parker's on a roll. Plus, he's got a better corner. He's got Andy Lee. Andy Lee is a nice trainer, man. I rank Andy Lee up with the top trainers. Yeah, I think Joseph Parker made Anderson want to call it a day. Charlene says with Mike Tyson, I reckon they have some kind of agreement. Then Mike won't follow in the ring. Yeah, I'm hoping Mike just goes ham. I mean, Mike should remember if you're going to put this much work into training, go try to stop the guy because, you know, there's no headgear. This is going on their record. This is not an exhibition. Whoever wins or loses is going on their record. So you don't want to be looked at as one of the best of all time. And then they say, but he lost to Jake Paul. So, you know, with an asterisk right there. Katie says, hey, I don't know. Bill got Vada in his pocket. Yeah, certain things were crossing my mind, and I'm going to have to do some investigation, you know, before I say anything about Bill. But it just doesn't look right coming out. The fight was April 20. We're in May now. It's just, come on, man. That's the bad thing about these organizations, how a little bit of money can make people start acting funny. That's just, I mean, how much money do you need? I'm sure most of these guys are pretty well off. You can only spend so much money. Pugilism. But the world would be a lot more boring if we didn't have it. Yeah, I heard he drove a Bentley before Devin. Yeah, I think he was a pimp or something like that. A Bay Area pimp. And he still talks like he's in the streets, you know? Floyd Mayweather told him when they were live, he's like, street life ain't nothing to glorify, and I agree with Floyd. He's supposed to be a role model to his boy and to the rest of, especially Black America. You coming on all this street stuff, dropping N bombs every other word, and most of it, what he was saying to Floyd didn't even really make sense. Maybe some inside stuff going on, but he says he pimps. Wow, I heard that. I don't know how true it is. Ruddock should count himself privileged to be on the resume of Lennox Lewis. Otherwise, nobody would remember his name. Yeah, he's on Mike Tyson's resume too. He did a lot better with Mike Tyson. He got beat by Tommy Morrison, Mike Tyson twice, Lennox Lewis once. So yeah, Razor, and he's still boxing. He and James Toney had an exhibition a while back in Jamaica. Yeah, Bill Haney's a trip, man. He's a trip. He's got a lot of mouth. Tony's reviews in the building. He says you don't believe that he cheated. Nah, man, not at all. Yeah, they keep trying everything in their power to try to make Ryan look like he didn't win legit, and especially because of all the antics leading up to it. The drinking and the weed. It makes it look like, oh, of course he would cheat. I'm not buying it. Nah. Anytime you say Jesus or Yeshua, you got a target on your back, and he's doing music videos. He's blowing up his Instagram. Everything is even bigger than it was before. So, nah, there's a lot of Hollywood, the entertainment business. They don't like Christians, not at all. You could be anything else, but not a Christian, or you're gonna have a target on your back. And I know some people in the industry, and it's true. It's not a conspiracy. Did you look into that Jeff Mayweather? Yeah, I read that. That Jeff Mayweather Bill Haney thing. I read that. That was kind of. I don't know what Bill did, but he had Jeff and his boys shook up pretty bad. I don't know why it's not like the Mayweathers can't pay for protection. Tony's review says swing by my live tonight at 10 p.m. Oh, okay, I got you, man. At live, you going live tonight? All right, gotta come through. Y'all come through tonight and check out Tony's reviews. We're gonna go live. Yeah, I want to hear your take on it, Tony. TS Boxing says just send. Okay, all right, I'll check it out when I get off. Appreciate that. TS Boxing, y'all. Teddy says, listen, he was butthurt talking to Floyd. I never seen such ignorance as a former crack pusher. I don't advocate anything or co-sign all that dumb street pointless stuff he was talking about. Yeah, that was crazy. I was like, he still sounds like, I don't know, maybe he's trying to impress his street homies. It's like, but it's making him look real ignorant. I mean, Devin talks with more class than him. Actually, with Floyd, and you know, I don't fudge with Mayweather. Mayweather's matured a lot, though, how he conducts himself. Bones Gus is all I got. Oh, you only have one video on your channel. Waiting for those videos, Bond. Just take losses because their egos, man. Their egos won't allow them to take a loss. The scriptures say in the end time, men will become lovers of self. You see all the selfies everybody's taking, all the self-love. People got a lot of pride, so it's hard for them to just say they lost. And the scriptures also say pride comes before a fall. So if you see a guy too proud, you know what's coming. An invisible leg to trip him up. He showed maturity, or at least publicly. Yeah, man. Yeah, he did. It's like Floyd was almost sunning him, like, sit down, young man, and listen to this game I'm about to pour on you. I'm a slack YouTuber, laugh out loud. You have some good takes, Bond. We got to hear what you got to say, man. We need that content, Mr. Scott. TS Boxing says, oh, I'm 50 and old in these streets, Bill Hank. Yeah, I'm like, man, 50 and old in these streets. Come on, Bill. They're talking about Dubois getting a crack at Joshua if he comes through Hrgovic. That would be interesting, since the rumor is that Dubois knocked out or knocked down Joshua in sparring years and years ago. Of course, I favor Joshua now. I think this Joshua right here is unbeatable. Ben Davison, I don't see none of these guys beating him. Teddy says, I understand why Bill was tripping. He thought Floyd was calling to rub it in, and it was an ingenuous reach out. Yeah, Floyd was talking about, too, on another broadcast, how Devin was doing the amateur mistake of the bow and arrow jab. It's your hand should stay right there to block, you know. He's doing this, leaving himself open. Daniel Dubois getting cracked by Hrgovic. Could happen. Could happen. It's a tough fight to pick, man, because both guys are highly motivated. Usyk must have a good chin because he's been in with very big punchers and hasn't been dropped by a headshot. Exactly. He's been hit by Joshua, the Witherspoon dude. He was hit by, what's his name? Chisora. And they ain't getting up neither. Yeah, I still go with Usyk over Fury, man, but I still want that Joshua and Fury. I want these guys to fight no matter win, lose, or draw. I still want Fury and Joshua. I still want Joshua Wilder. Do you think drugs were used in boxing since the 70s, 80s, and 90s? I don't know so much about the 70s, but definitely the 80s and 90s. Definitely. Tony's review says all these dudes are calling Ryan and Ryan fans gay. The last time that I checked, it was Devin shirtless next to Diddy. Next to, oh, was he now? I was wondering why Ryan kept talking about talking about that guy in the building said, talking to Tony. But yeah, I was wondering why Ryan kept bringing up. Wow, so wow. Yeah, people talking about Ryan's fans or gays, like, okay, does that change the results of the fight? Like, counterpunch boxing news in the building. What's up? To Kurt says, "What's up, Jay Roos? What's up to you, Kurt? Kurt in the building, y'all. Go subscribe to my dude, Counterpunch Boxing News, y'all. Coming through. Yeah, man, I was watching your videos, man. Teddy says Triple D's chin ain't durable. He has a lot of suspect fights. It's gonna be a repeat of Joyce Dubois plus 10 because Animal is more relentless. Could be. I say that because they similar styles and size. Yeah, I can see someone picking Hergovich, man. It's a very tough fight to try to pick. Emmanuel says in the second Joshua versus Usyk fight in one of the rounds, Joshua hit Usyk with a very hard straight right hand, and Usyk was still standing. Yeah, Usyk's chin is not often talked about, but yeah, he's got Usyk's weak point is the body. You know, he's got a good chin though. Tony's review says drugs have been in boxing since the 40s. Yeah, it wouldn't. It definitely wouldn't shock me, man. I forget when they say steroids came on the scene, but yeah, I'm sure they had some other things going on before steroids. And now steroids is pretty much in all the hamburgers we eat. So I tell you, hard to find any meat without some roids in it. Kurt DeVille, what it do, my guy? Teddy says, Tony's review says, drugs have probably been in boxing since the 1800s. You had to be cracked up to box 100. Yeah, I used to wonder, how did them dudes go like all them rounds and then the gloves weren't even as well padded? I remember they said Jack Johnson hit this dude so hard he was raking his teeth out of his glove. I was like, that was some. Yeah, if you boxed back then, man, you was a G. Can you imagine 100 rounds? And I often wonder how many minutes the rounds were. Like, I know they couldn't have been 3 minute rounds. Them dudes would have been. What kind of training were they doing? Like running marathons? Wow. That's only 5 o'clock, right? Wow. I feel like it's later. But I had to jump on and talk to you guys. My pugilism planet is so much going on. I'm just hoping De La Hoya's goons get the job done for her. Or De La Hoya's goon gets the job done for him. Who do you favor in that fight, Teddy? I don't know enough about the guy Canelo's fighting to be, perfectly. I hate to say to be honest because it implies everything you said up until this point was dishonest. So, who you got in that fight? I think Canelo kind of, like I said, I don't know enough about the dude, but I'm just kind of hard to pick against Canelo unless he's fighting Bivol. Did you see that comedian Bubba Dub telling Bill Haney to stop talking about the streets, telling him he's too old for that bull, told him he should concentrate on helping his son find his AirPods. Nah, I didn't see that. I'm going to check for that. That's probably the one guy that Bill Haney didn't have no comebacks for as a comedian. I'm going to check that out, man. Tony's review says even at a minute around, that's 100 minutes of, yeah, I hadn't even thought of it like that. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's crazy, dude. That's like literally running a marathon while getting punched. And like I said, if you look at gloves from back then, they weren't as well designed as gloves now. Munguia is very offensive, but bad defense. Oh yeah, you don't want to have bad defense against Canelo. Fury is going to kill Usyk and lick him on the way down. Wow. Tony has spoken, y'all. Tune in tonight, 10 p.m. Eastern Time. Tony's Reviews. I'm going to jump on there and chop it up with Tony. He's a poor man's Bibble minus the angles and defense. Oh, okay. So he's like Bibble without the. Oh, okay. So he's Bibble without the talent. Nah. Drugs is not good in sports. 100% nah. Not at all. If you can't rely on your natural ability and the things you learn in the gym, bounce. That guy says there's definitely a way Hergovich beats Daniel handily, but I still want to see it. Hergovich been in cruise control for a minute. Yeah, I think Hergovich is motivated because he keeps talking about how easily he beat Dubois up in sparring. So he's looking at Dubois like a chump. Now, I don't know if that's a good mindset to go into a fight, thinking it's going to be easy. Because I remember thinking that a couple times in sparring and I got my head handed to me. I always did best when I was like, oh, this guy's tough. When I got in there thinking, oh, this guy, yeah, yeah. Didn't come off my feet, though. Never been knocked down. Adore says, do you think Francis Ngannou will come back to buy? I think so. Shout out to Francis, man. He's going through a lot right now. Gotta pray for Francis, man. Sad to hear what happened. Teddy says, I have him upsetting Canelo if he overwhelms him with punches, but Canelo will find his timing and put him to sleep. Oh, okay. I'm gonna have to go watch some film on dude. I know Oscar's probably in his ear like, please, dude, you gotta do it. This dude bad mouthing me, cussing me out. There's an interview that Canelo did with Stephen A. Smith. I gotta check out. Canelo don't know much English, but he learned the cuss words. Foreigners always learn those first. Vaughn Scott says, seems like Frank, Eddie, and Bob have boxing locked down. Yeah, man. Yes, man. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. Especially Eddie and Mr. Frank Warren. Mr. Turkey is not playing around. That dude is putting out big money and giving big fights. Terrence Crawford, Andy Ruiz, and all them on the same card in Los Angeles. Get out of here. Get out of here. Adore says Anthony Joshua will become heavyweight champion again. I believe so too, man, Champion, seen, second, every time, seen. Teddy says if he throws the volume of punches he's used to throwing, it makes for a war. Also, he's a high volume puncher, too. Wow. Wow. My live stream pause. What happened? What happened? Y'all hear me? Live stream got a little janky for a minute. Got a little janky on it, dude. So yeah, Jay Roos, you tossed them out like your son on the mound. Man, that's what's up. Tony's review says Ryan needs to go to an independent lab and get tested ASAP. That is, if he's truly innocent. Yeah, he's got to do everything in his power to clear his name because all that pre-fight build-up and all that stuff is not helping him. They'll just rewind the tape and say, well, "Look what you said here. Look what you said here." So, Bill Haney and them are going to use that one, and Bill Haney's trying to act like he's all emotional now, and he can't believe that Ryan did this. Bill, Bill, if you don't sit down somewhere, Bill needs to chill. He has the highest punch output in the division. Wow, are you serious? Wow. Yeah, he can give Canelo problems then because Canelo doesn't have a high punch output. Canelo just kind of fights sporadic now. That's why I don't really like watching Canelo too much. Adore says, "Did you think Ryan Garcia was set?" Yeah, absolutely. I think Ryan was set up. Absolutely. There's a lot of people that don't want to see you uplift the name of Yeshua or Jesus. They don't like that at all. And with his fan base, they really don't like that. If you're not promoting ratchet behavior and sexuality and all types of foolishness, then they don't like that. They're like the more ratchet, the better. Teddy says, "I'm out, my dog. I'll catch you next live." Shout out to you, Teddy. Thanks for coming through. Teddy B in the place to be, y'all. Teddy B, straight G. You feel me? You know what I mean? Teddy says, "Go watch Teddy Atlas talking about it, though, my G." But I'm not. Oh, Teddy got a take. Oh, okay. Thanks. Yeah. I definitely want to hear that. Teddy told me to go check out Teddy. That's Teddy twice. T twice. Keep it nice. Spit out your teeth like some hot rice. Go back before Miami Vice. I'm just a man among mice. Roll your like some dice. So precise. Not a counselor, but I got some advice. You know what I mean? Yeah. Teddy Atlas. Yeah, it'll be interesting to hear what Teddy has to say. You know, everybody that picked Devin Haney to win is going to say, "Yeah, see, I knew it. I knew it. I knew he was." No, stop. Stop. Counterpunch boxing news says bar. Thanks, Kurt. Yeah, man. Album coming soon. Hey, if you guys want to hear me rap, go type in on YouTube. Go type in Pure Thought Click 619. That's the rap I did like 2008. It wasn't an original beat though. Tony's review says Teddy on Teddy Talk. Yeah. I always find Teddy interesting, even if I don't agree with him. I like his passion. Teddy's one of those old school tough guys, man. I love Teddy Atlas. A lot of people don't like him. I love Teddy Atlas, man. We disagree on a lot of things, like his Canelo takes and AJ takes, but I just, especially once I listened to his audio book, I was like, man, Teddy's a real one. That guy says if Ryan is innocent, it only takes a hair sample. No, you might be right. I don't quite know how it works, but I know they say whatever drugs in your system will come out in your hair. I don't know if that's urban legend or if that's true. But Ryan needs to do something like Tony was saying while it's fresh. You know, while everybody's talking, he needs to go out and clear his name. It's a shame you got to clear your name when you probably didn't even do nothing. Adore says, "I always wanted to see Vander Holyfield versus Razor Ruddock." Yeah, when I heard about it the other day, I was like, I wonder why I never. At the time, I don't even think I even thought of that fight. But now in retrospect, I'm like, yeah, we didn't get that fight. But yeah, that would have been a doozy. I'd have figured Holyfield though back then. Though Holyfield was tough, and that chin of Holyfield was better than Razor Ruddock's chin. Razor, of course, might have had a little bit better punch, but I still got Holyfield. That guy says it worked for Canelo. Canelo. Yeah, that little exchange between he and Oscar got pretty nasty, man. I didn't know they. I didn't know they were that heated at each other. Canelo was just dropping some crazy bars on Oscar. That was like Canelo's version of hit 'em up. West Side when we ride, come quick with game. You claim to be a promoter, but I beat your fighter. Does anyone remember TBKO boxing? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it had one of my favorite commentators of all time. I even bought his book, and I didn't finish it, and I lost it, so I'm gonna have to re-get it. Was Al Bernstein? I always thought he was one of the classiest commentators. Man, he was with Showtime recently, and I just like how he doesn't show biasness. He's fair. He doesn't come across mean spirited at anybody. He doesn't seem to have an agenda. So shout out to Al Bernstein. I want to get him on the show. I don't know if he has an Instagram or a Facebook, but I gotta find Al Bernstein, man. Adore said, "Does anyone miss HBO? Oh, do I miss HBO boxing? Oh my! Oh yes, yes. Somebody bring back HBO boxing. They knew how to put on. They were like the Super Bowl of boxing. They knew how to make an event, man. HBO boxing. Shout out to Jim Lampley, George Foreman, Larry Merchant, um, Max Kellerman came along later. Roy Jones came along, but I just used to like how how Jim and Larry and George would get into it a lot, man. That Canelo at the presser with subs had me in bits earlier. Oh yeah, man. That Canelo presser was hilarious, dude. That was entertainment, man. I'll probably go back and watch it again. They definitely sold the fight with that. But yeah, Larry Merchant and George Foreman, they would go at it, man. Especially some of the things George Foreman would say, Larry would be like, "How so, George? Like, please explain. Like, what are you talking about?" I think it was the Riddick Bowe Larry Donald fight where Riddick Bowe was dominating pretty much every round, and George Foreman said something like, "Larry could still win this fight, or he's doing good," and Merchant was like, "How so, George? Please tell us. Please elaborate, George." Larry wasn't having it. George was like, George would kind of contradict himself sometimes because he'd want to seem like he wasn't, trying to show he wasn't showing favoritism. So he might say he didn't like your jab in round three, and then by the time you get to round seven, he'd be like, "Man, that jab is something special." Be like, "Dude, you just said." I miss listening to them dudes. Adore says, "I love boxing very much every day and every time." Shout out to you, man. I appreciate you coming through. Appreciate you liking pugilism, my pugilism planet out there. Pugilism. How you hit them. But I guess I'm going to go get off here, relax my windpipe, you know, and I appreciate everybody that came through. Bon Scott, Adore, um, Counterpunch Boxing News, of course, my dude Kurt. Um, Charlene came through. I think she was the first one that came through. Tony's Reviews. Appreciate all y'all. Emmanuel came through. Teddy Ted came through. Adore says Lennox Lewis versus Ike Bucci would have been a very good boxing match. Well, that'd have been a classic. That'd have been a classic. Still got Lewis, but it would have been a classic. But I think I'm gonna go ahead and get off here. Thanks for watching. Remember, Yahweh, Yeshua reigns supreme. LSR forever. Ryan, keep your head up. Be fearless. Yeah.